finally got started on these outer taillights, and I've forgot to show you what I was doing on the first one. Luckily, I've got the second one still, but I've got this one down to where it's bare minimum. There's a piece. There's the LEDs. There's the housing that the LEDs sit in. There's the marker. This is the little ball that, or piece that holds it in on one side. That's sat right here. It's on this other one right here. Right there. Pew. So there's a before, what everything looks like. Still connected. Here's the lens itself. Now I learned a couple things while I was working on this. This lip actually curls over a lot. So the welded part is way up here where my finger is right there. But you can't cut in it because there's so much lip. You have to cut down on it. That was one learning point. Another one was, if you want this to come out decent, it's glued in right up at the top right there. It's glued in and at the bottom. Whoa, that's kind of a trippy reflection. So if you're wanting those to come out, I would advise cutting this backside. You can see the two indents. There's one indent, and right there's the other indent, and just cut it out that way, or mark it right there, and break the glue off where it's glued on, because I tried prying on it, and it didn't end up too great for me. I broke a big chunk of it off. I could still use it. I'm probably not going to use it, though. I don't know. It's probably a nice safety feature to have, but I don't think that I really need to use it. Here's the LED board that runs everything. Pretty interesting stuff. Here's all the LEDs. It's kind of strange how this all fits together. Since I've got everything kind of sitting around, I threw it back together real quick to show you everything. So I got the first part that actually came off, and this one had screws in it, little screws in this hole right here. There was two right here, and then another one right there. So this part actually wants to come off this way because of everything. And the way that I cut it, I had to pry it up from this side and kind of break it off that way. But this one wants to come off this way, so that piece will come off. And this is where all the factory harnesses and everything goes. So that part comes off, and then we were left with this one. And then there was 4 screws holding this one on. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then this whole thing came out. I guess it's kind of show you. It's kind of neat to see the LEDs are just hanging out in there. There's LEDs. So the LEDs then came out this way. There's LEDs, the board, this piece. I put the red chunk back on here. And then the clear part came off that way. Then the red chunk sits on here like this. There's a tab right here in this corner that you have to break loose. Once that breaks loose, I pried open this way. Figured out that it was glued right here and here. That's what I was talking about. You want to shave this part down and this part to get to the back side of the glue to get it undone. But then that part came off. I just wanted to kind of see if I could get it off, and I learned what not to do. But there's the shiny bit. All the LEDs. It's kind of interesting how they had their LEDs ran. Now this board was held on by 2 screws, and there was just you can just pull it right out. And the board, there's one side, there's the other side. If you want to see the traces, you can pause it or whatever. If I could actually get it to show, there we go. There's some decent shots of it. But this wire is very interesting. It's kind of like a really hard wire. It's not like your standard actual wire. I mean, you can bend it and it stays bent wherever you want it to go. So it's pretty cool. It's got a shield on it, copper cord, and there's just run to these two pieces, and then these little knobs right here. Those knobs right there had the wire just crimped down into it. Pretty slick. And then this has the connector that connects to the car. So I don't need any of this stuff. Not worried about it. It's more for learning to figure out what was actually in here, because you never know. It's always nice to know what's inside. I mean, one way to learn what was inside of it. So nothing else matters. The part I'm looking for is this part. And I've got more sanding than I thought. There's actually little ribs in this part. You can see in there. There you go. There's ribs right there. So I've got to come down all the way down into this crease to sand. And then this edge is not going to be fun to deal with. It's got a huge lip right here that I've got to figure out how to cut it off of. This one had, apparently it had a problem with it leaking because someone put some silicone in it before to keep it from leaking. Anyways, there's the old chunks. Here's the non-cut open one. Those are huge ribs right here. These are even big too. That'll be fun to cut down. So we'll get working on this one.